How's everyone doing today? Enjoying it? Good, good. All goes to plan and no technical hitches. Plan is just going to give you a brief kind of high-level overview of what's in 6.1. Then we're going to follow that by just a short demo of some of the stuff I'm running on platform devices. And then we'll finish with the Q&A section. I've managed to pluck out Andrew from his desk, who's been busy beavering, polishing this stuff off, ready for release. So hopefully we can give you guys some things that you like today. So first off, what's in Marmalade 6.1? Well, one of the things we've looked to do is improve our functionality. So the first part of this is Web Marmalade plugins. We introduced Web Marmalade in 6.0, and one of the things we heard very, very early was, how do I extend it? Well, we did that initially by open sourcing the WebBrit, the stuff itself, but obviously that involved still a lot of clunky stuff to get it up and running and build your stuff and extend it. So what we've done is auto-generation tooling. The auto-generation tooling, again, as alluded to earlier, does a lot of the grunt work for you, developing kind of skeleton frameworks and developing, kind of making it easier for you guys to develop extensions. We've also done some improvements to our MDev system. If you're not aware of MDev, it's used to manage third-party packages and libraries and EDK extensions that you download from the web and use in your projects. What we're now allowed to do is, when you download the package, you download the source as well, so you can modify it, and say you don't like how something's done in the extension, you can change that, and you can basically do what you want with the source that's been put up, and also the ability to choose the version you want. So we know previously, if you used your own version of a library, it couldn't sometimes cause conflicts when, with the Web Marmalade version, you'd constantly be fetching the old one. A lot of items, we've made that a lot easier now, so you can specify what version of a package you want to use in the system. Hopefully that will make things a lot easier for you guys when it comes to dealing with extensions and packages using the MDev system. And finally, another improvement is IWGX2. We've finally gone to floating point. I know, took some time to get here, but yeah, we've improved it and removed fixed point stuff. For those guys that have built your code using IWGX, don't worry. The old IWGX with fixed points there, so you don't need to think, oh no, I've got to rewrite all my code just to work with this new system. We are providing the old IWGX in the SDK still. It's just a small one-line change to your MKB system to revert back to using the old fixed point version if you don't want to update your code if it's near to the end of the release.
What's this behaviour like on low-end units which don't have decent floating point units or even any floating point units?
I'll get Andrew at the end and he'll be able to answer that stuff for you, okay? And part of that, we've also removed our software rendering from IWGX2, so that should obviously make writing the code a little easier, so you're not having to fight with software rendering now as part of that. As well as new features, there's always new platforms being added, so yeah. So we've also added new platforms. Seems to be a new one released every day, but first one is the LG TV, which we've got sitting just under here. This is professional for professional licensees only, and prior kind of authorization from LG, I believe, to allow you to utilize this. So if you're interested in a professional licensee holder, contact LG, and we've done this already for a few customers, delivered your content onto the top line LG TVs coming through. And the next one is Android MIP support. Lots of devices, especially in China, are based on top of the MIP platform. Low end, cheap tablets that you can use. What we plan to do, we've given you support for that, so you'll be able to release your titles on Google Play, so that's opening up the amount of devices you can now hit again, no longer just ARM devices, you can also hit the MIPS ones as well. And the last and final one is Windows and Mac release deployments. So your mobile content you can now release on desktop platforms, be it Steam or Apple App Store. Obviously, we expect you'll be able to distribute in many other ways as well from many other different providers. So it's just allowing you, who kind of not being restricted just to mobile now, you're able to kind of just take your content and deliver it everywhere. You know, you've now got the web as a distribution platform. If you want to sell it as it through your website, there's a monetization method. You can now do that. The ways for you to, you're not linked into kind of App Store ecosystems now. I think that's really, hopefully, going to be a good way of you guys to kind of get more out of your applications, because we know, see, more 500,000 apps. Sorry, is it 500 million apps now in the App Store? It's from the previous slide. It's hard to get discovered. So hopefully we can kind of do that for you. Now, I'd like to just give you a demonstration with Mirek.
Okay, so this is LG TV. It's GP4 platform. Maybe you know that we supported GP3 in previous version of Marmalade. It's basically big flat TV. I have USB stick here with loaded with Marmalade applications. And if you, in a break, you can look at its back because it's uncovered. Basically, it's a computer. It's an ARM-based computer. So let me turn it on. It has this nice magic control, basically, that's accelerometer based, so that I can operate it by just moving. Okay.
So hopefully we'll be.
Network is connecting.
Live demos.
Yeah. Maybe someone is using my cable, aren't you? No.
Oh,
Okay. It's embarrassing.
sorry about this.
Sorry about this, but I will fix that for you for break.
Okay. Do we have some MIPS devices as well?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
Okay, this is the another platform we are supporting as of 6.1. These are basically MIPS-based tablets. They are cheap as chips, and you can get one for about £50 on eBay. So they seems to be very popular in China and other growing markets. So it's now basically fully supported. It's Android-based. It's ice cream sandwich-based. So I can show you, for example, you are familiar with our card game. And we aim basically to provide the same level of support as for ARM-based Android. So it means all sensors and everything should be fine. It's not the best device you can get. You know, you can see if you can play with it. It's not as fast, you know, but it can get 20 or 30 FIPS in a game like that without any problems. You can see that the interface is lagging a bit, you know. Even native interface, but it works. It was nice. For us, it was a challenge to introduce new platform because most of our platforms are either x86 or ARM based. So this is MIPS, different compiler, different type of issues, but it works. So if you can, I can show you some better game. We have even some premium contents from our external developers. Roly-poly.
MIPS, is that tied into another compiler? Or is it GCC still, or the ARM one?
It is a separate compiler.
Is there any way to do an ARM MIPS in one build?
No, unfortunately. I'm not sure if we don't.
We looked at that. Google have changed they've recognised all the problems. You can actually submit different architecture builds now. Doing an 80K both building was really too challenging for me. So they changed that all.
resistant.
Okay. So here we have, basically, now, as James said, we are now able to target Windows and Mac platforms. So you can deploy your mobile application to desktop platforms. I have, for example, cut the rope. So it's now working. It's a very popular game, Marmalade based. There is no video.
Yeah.
Apparently, the video codec doesn't allow to be shown on over the external interface, but it works on screen.
Maybe we should try something like that.
Okay. Another example: space links.
So can you switch now back to window mode?
You mean to?
Yeah,
Cutter
window mode now. This wasn't working on button version of Windows.
Yeah, we're still. You will be able to. We are just ironing out the crinkles in that right now. So.
And this one is playing nicely in full screen, as you see.
See, one of the things that I noticed as well is with the kind of the iPods and iPads now so high resolution.
You're not very good at this, are you?
It's a really funny game.
You don't. With the iPad, you don't need to do a lot of stuff with your assets now because you're actually doing high-res assets now for tablet devices. So, dealing with the larger scale of monitors actually isn't as much of an issue as it would have been where you'd have to redo your assets for a larger screen because you're already doing it for the devices you're holding in your hands. So it's
As you can see, it's essentially, executable application. So this is all you need to supply to Steam or to other apps catalogs, and you don't need to do any fundamental changes in the game to run it there.
Okay, I'd like to invite Andrew up to the front and he'll be able to answer some of your questions. I'd like to say that answering me a question would be like a politician on Newsnight.
Two questions came up so far. GX. So I'm not the person who's worked on it, but for GX2, I think we've eliminated software pipelines. So if you want to target low-end devices, probably not going to want to use GX2. Decisions been made that most people are targeting high-end devices these days. Everything's got hardware pipelines now. The GPUs are not like they used to be in the old days. So I can check afterwards. I'll get Phil, our GX expert, but I'm pretty sure that's all hardware now. So there we go. And full screen. Some bugs to iron out, but yes, we're going to have proper full screen support. So you'll have the API to see what supported modes are. So it's just basically querying DirectX underneath and telling you what you can and can't support. You should just be able to ping it into full screen at any resolution and ping it back out again. So that's the first two that I know about. Dare I ask, are there any other questions?
How does the GX2 affect the IW2D?
It's all so IW2D will still work. So you'll find
with, GX1 though.
Yes. So what you'll find when you download the new SDK is in the old modules folder. Well, the modules folder. It's not old. It's the one that's in use. There'll be everything is GX2 in there from now on. So if you go to IDB2D, it's got GX2 underneath, etc. If you really still want to target GX1, there's a separate folder living underneath with all the GX1 legacy stuff. As far as you're concerned, to control that, it's just a single define in your MKB. So you can just switch between the entire two, but it'll be a separate build, so you can't switch dynamically at runtime.
Yeah, I was just wondering in terms of the change from fixed point to floating point, is IWTD still uses fixed point?
It should all be, so again I haven't worked on this, but I'm pretty sure we've gone through everything and it's all floating point now, but don't hold me to that. If you want to grab me afterwards, I'll go and find Phil and he's our expert on the little details there.
But the API is designed to be transparent.
Yes.
So that
Yeah, it's effectively the exact same API, except it's got floating point rather than fixed point. As I say, it's a single defined switch between the two. But obviously, you may well need to rewrite some of your code if you want to target it.
I might just add a little bit from. I should say I haven't had much exposure to GXT, but I've been doing some documentation checkups for it. So from what I understand, basically the GX, the anim, and the graphics layers are the ones that will have like API-wise switches to fixed point code. So you have to update your inputs to that fixed point, floating point, and everything else is basically identical. So the old code with the single define will just run with the old libraries, and the new stuff will be a new set of libraries with new API changes to go from fixed point input to floating point input. But it's designed to be as basically as possible.
Sorry, another
Yeah,
question.
no, go for it.
You just mentioned documentation. I'm wondering if documentation has been improved.
Nick is the person.
Documentation.
Nick, would you like to come to the front?
So documentation is one of my little kind of pet projects that I can help out with.
Come on, don't be shy.
Basically, we've had our documentation sort of as it is with some CHMs for Windows and some plain HTML or a website version for some time. And I'm saying this without having gone live yet, so I might regret this. But our plan is basically to standardize the whole thing with a nice HTML JavaScript-based single version for online, offline, the different platforms we support, with like integrated search and stuff. To start off with, the contents-wise, it's pretty similar to how it used to be. It's got stuff for the new desktop and GX parts. We've got plans to improve all of the tutorials and add some more like high-level introductory stuff to get it started.
So, because getting started is tricky,
Yes,
because
yeah.
you document the APIs
Not so much the
reasonably
high-level.
well, but not what APIs you should be using to achieve certain tasks. And,
Yeah.
So it's very...
Yeah, and the reason for that is because we've started off from a point of writing some good software and then getting people to use the software rather than like, well, we've got an idea, let's build this whole system and then better document it kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing things like we're doing some video tutorials, we're doing some high-level component diagrams, and like, I want to do high scores, what should I do? Well, you've got these options and here's how to integrate it into your project and that kind of thing. That's kind of our plan going forward.
Yeah.
In 6.1, there won't be a lot of content-wise, there'll be some usability improvements and so on, but we'll be rolling
There
that out.
seems to be quite a lot of stuff that's out of date as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of cleaning up going on as well.
Last thing I
That's
found
right.
is to do with HTTPS support, which your documents say, oh no, we don't support it. But then
We
if you
don't
look on the
do.
forums, you do.
Yeah, so and the forums as well, we've got an ongoing task to clean up like threads that have been there where things have been fixed, but they haven't been updated to say here's been fixed. Yeah, we are aware that we should improve that. There's a lot of work going on to do.
Another improvement in 6.1 is that we changed our drivers, GL drivers, in order to bring this desktop support. So hopefully there will be less crashes in simulator, on certain graphic cards and so on. So
There should be none.
For those in the know, the technical use, we're using Angle, which is Google's pet project for WebGL, and that just uses DirectX underneath. So because it's using DirectX, it should be a lot more stable on Windows. Should be. You can't. If DirectX doesn't work, then you're pretty much stuffed right on Windows. But yeah, it should be a lot better than the previous ones.
Keep my ATI cards
Yeah, you don't need to burn them yet. Any other questions?
Anyone?
You mentioned the size of the assets on the desktop. Sure, you use iOS assets for tablets.
Yeah.
How would that work with the Retina MacBooks? Do you just do one size and then the GL view gets scaled, or is it an extra? Or are you using larger assets?
If you want, so we already support, you can have different assets for different platforms. So if it's a particular issue, then you can obviously rescale your assets and have different packages. In terms of internally, I'm not a graphics expert, but so I can't tell you what happens if you. I'm sure everything scales up, but that's very hand wavy.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly could scale the screen if you wanted to. What kind of quality you're going to get, and whether that's how you want your apps more of the game.
The Retina MacBooks, you can have one size for like desktop and Mac, but there's going to be two different screen sizes.
Yeah, and it's the same if you're doing an iPhone to support like the 3GS or your iPhone 4. Yeah, it'll support the two different sizes. It'll give you a service and it'll let you just find out service sizes. And with the RMKB system, you can package up different screen resolutions, different devices. It's kind of a design decision how you want your game or app to scale.
Maybe related to that packaging of different assets and stuff. I think that's all done through kind of ICX and DirbH.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways.
Is there any plan to kind of integrate that into a more kind of user-friendly workflow, or are we going to be keeping these text files editable for?
There definitely are plans, and that's probably a question for Tony in terms of where that'd be on our roadmap.
Standardising. My favourite phases is it's on the list. But it's a long list. But yeah, absolutely, we need to be more standards based. So I was saying something over the lunch break that we kind of have a history of growing up from Nick was saying build our own tech and we like to do really cool things. It actually makes more sense now because there's a lot more tech out there to try and choose what's already available and standardise on that. So we're doing a lot of standards based approaches to things, and that's something we need to do. Removing the fixed point is the first thing we want to do, and the next one is actually looking at the rest of the graphics pipeline and one liking.
Anyone else? Or?
Okay, we had the demo working for the OGTV. I'm just going to switch back to that for the next section.
And again, and these are I believe the assets for this are the same that we used for the mobile game. Again, so.
I'm not the best player. I know that James is world champion in cards.
Yeah, cards is my game.
You can see it's working. It was just redeployed from Android version, so all I had to do is to take this package and deploy it, put it on stick, and it just runs.
So you're excited about TV? Can you see a future with?
We can play it in break. We can play.
What's the performance like?
Actually, there are two versions of this TV. There are two platforms. There is M9 and L9 and MTK. This one is more powerful. I think all the contents I tried on it runs just fine, like 30 FIPS without any performance issue. The other one is less powerful. It's slower and even the rendering is not as good, but it works as well.
I think in terms of hardware, it's a dual-core ARM processor powering the whole thing, especially on the high version, not sure about the low version. So
it should run the premium content.
So yeah.
More of an issue is just thinking about something controlled with a remote. How well can you play Q with a pointer?
So how many buttons has it got?
Yes, just you can see it when play it actually.
So
So is it meant to be deployed onto a USB stick like that, or are you saying that that's just a workaround?
This is just for development. When it comes to releasing your games, they'll have their own app store, and you'll download it to.
Oh, I see.
So it's pure digital distribution. You're not going to need to go into PC World and buy it on a USB stick. It's,
right.
Every manufacturer will have its own app store.
Yeah.
And entirely different.
And here, Marmalade helps, right? Because you can have access to multiple stores.
Are a lot of platforms, are you finding a lot of NDKs for smart TVs being released?
From my experience, sort of yes and no. So maybe like a year or so ago, there were lots of smart TVs who were doing, let's do gaming, let's do applications like that, and the GPUs were just way too underpowered to actually do anything, so they kind of not really thought it through, and they were aiming more towards kind of web development, some kind of JavaScript-based engine they had going and so on. And now there's more NDK stuff available, but not all of them are like publicly available. So we have quite a lot of sort of OEM figures and pies kind of stuff. So we sort of talk to some of the manufacturers a bit and get stuff ahead of when you'd be able to publicly get it out. And also they're sometimes quite picky about managing their stores and how to get onto them and stuff. So it's another area where we're a bit more reach than
platforms to explode quite quickly.
Yeah.
Like smart TVs.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine they'll refine like their practices as they